What's up, guys? I'm DK Wrestler, and today I'm going to be doing a top 10 list of my favorite Funko Pops that were announced in the month of October 2025. How in the heck is it already 2 months until the end of 2025? But if you end up enjoying this type of content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But nonetheless, let's kick off this top 10 list. And we're going to be kicking off at number 10 with The Count from Sesame Street. Now, this pop is absolutely awesome. Of course, we haven't had a pop of The Count since the older wave of Sesame Street pops that came out back in, I believe it was 2016, 2017. So to get a new updated mold is really awesome, especially for those ones that are fans of Sesame Street but joined the Funko game later than when the original set had released. And I love the fact that this molding is based off of the whole two, The only reason it's not higher than it is because what does it say on the top flap? Do we actually get the full-on quote on the top flap? Because of the fact that I feel like it doesn't, that's why it's at the bottom. Coming in at number 9 on my list is the FAO Schwarz exclusive Statue of Liberty. Now, it is kind of weird to think that there have been a couple of Statue of Liberty related pops with the Freddy Funko as Statue of Liberty from New York Comic Con many years back, and the Statue of Liberty from the Spider-Man No Way Home movie, but this technically marks the actual first ever Funko Pop of the Statue of Liberty itself, not relating to Freddy Funko or some sort of property. And I think obviously they did a great job with the way that the colors are, of course, because it originally was a bronze statue until, you know, the whole effect happens where it actually turns it a bit green there. And although this is a great pop, and I think it definitely does deserve to be higher, I think maybe it's a little bit low because it makes more sense if it was, let's say, a 6-inch or a 10-inch pop, because it is a statue after all. Coming in at number 8 on my list is the Hot Topic Scare Fair exclusive Captain Spaulding from the House of a Thousand Corpses. Now, this pop is really cool. Now, they did recently release a newer Captain Spaulding after not having any pops for this movie since the OG Captain Spaulding released. But I really like this pop because it does resemble the molding of the OG Captain Spaulding from many years ago, and the same outfit with top hat as well. So I like the fact that we have basically a newer version of that OG molding, especially with an amazing box like the ones they always release with the Hot Topic Scare Fair exclusives. And I'm not going to mention about another thing I like about this until later on in the video, so stay tuned for that. Coming in at number 7 on my list is the Krang in Bubble Walker from TMNT, limited to 3,500 pieces. Now, this is a really cool pop, not only for you TMNT fans, but overall, considering that, of course, the only way we've gotten Krang was because of the android that he's involved with, as well as the Freddy Funko one they made for the TMNT NFT pop. So now we have more of a bigger version of the actual character of Krang himself instead of just the android, and especially it's a part of the new limited edition program. I believe it's a part of the royalty set because it is under the 3,500 piece category, while let's say Ultra, which is something we may discuss about later, is 5,000 pieces. Coming in at number 6 on my list is the Savini Jason from the Friday the 13th video game. Now, I was fairly excited about this pop when it was first leaked in the rumor mill by Scarlet Joker, because I knew this had the potential of being a very detailed pop. And now we have the official glam shot for this pop, and it basically, I don't want to say it exceeded my expectations, but it met my expectations because of how detailed it is. And I like the fact that this is actually for the Friday the 13th video game that released many years ago, instead of being a part of the normal Friday the 13th lineup for the movies. I wish that this was glow in the dark, because I feel like the colors that are involved with this pop would look really nice with the glow in the dark aspect, especially the eyes that are that yellow color. Coming in at number 5 on my list is the Funko Shop exclusive Night Owl from Watchmen. Now, I'm always excited to see some of these Watchmen pops, whether they are reoccurring pops or, as I say, remakes of previous pops like the Dr. Manhattan or the recently released Rorschach, or the fact that we've gotten some newer characters such as the Silk Spectre for this set. So Night Owl is definitely one of those characters that I knew at some point they had to make a pop of, and they did a pretty decent job with the molding of it as it is. I can't wait to see what else comes out with this, especially if they make a pop of, let's say, the Comedian. I think that would be cool. Coming in at number 4 on my list is is the Metal Sonic 3.0 for the Sonic the Hedgehog lineup. Now, a lot of people definitely went nuts for this pop because this is an ultra rarity pop limited to 5,000 pieces. And surprisingly enough, this wasn't a limited piece that went on the Funko shop. This was actually a retailer exclusive, more specifically GameStop in the US or EB Games in Canada. I do think that this is a very cool variant of a Metal Sonic to make as a part of the limited edition set with the amount of colors and detail involved with it. Plus, I do like the fact that it is a fairly different posing compared to any of the other Metal Sonic or Metal Knuckles pops that they've done for this set.
Shout out goes to Sentinel107 and Duh Unacceptable Viewer.
And the reason that they ended up getting a shout out is because they joined our YouTube channel membership, which only cost $1.99 a month. Not only do you get the shout out, but you do get lots of other perks, including early access to every single video and shorts that we produce on this channel. So definitely consider joining our YouTube channel membership. It will be greatly appreciated and will go a long way of helping out this channel a lot. So definitely consider it, but let's get right back to the video. Coming in at number 3 on my list is the Target exclusive Yaddle from the Star Wars lineup. Now, this is absolutely awesome. I think Yaddle is one of those characters that not a lot of people talk about, especially because that character specifically, I believe, made a little bit of a cameo appearance, I guess you can say, in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Yaddle, who of course never has had a pop previously, and I do like the way that the posing looks with this. And of course, if you do have a Yoda pop, it definitely makes sense to get the Yaddle to go side by side. But nonetheless, I do think that it's long overdue for a character like Yaddle to actually get her own Funko Pop in the Star Wars lineup. Coming in at number 2 on my list is the Box Lunch exclusive flocked Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street. Now, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but of course, the regular Oscar the Grouch does not make this list at all, including the honorable mentions. I knew that out of the two, I had to choose the flocked version just because, of course, flocking makes pops look so much nicer, and it definitely makes sense for a character like Oscar the Grouch to be flocked, especially because, of course, they are puppets, so the material of them, it makes sense to add that specification. The only gripe I have is potentially if they would have just switched up the signs involving these pops, like instead of having both of them be I love trash, one of them would be I love trash, and then the other one would be a different saying, just like they did with the original Oscar the Grouch pop, and then I believe the Entertainment Earth orange version had a different saying on the trash can. But that's just me being very nitpicky over this. I wouldn't be surprised if any of you guys would say that this could be the best Funko Pop of October 2025. But before I do show off my number 1 pop on this list, here are a few honorable mentions. So the first honorable mention I have on this list is the Homer on scale from The Simpsons that's limited to 5,000 pieces. Now, this is a pretty funny pop, and it is kind of cool to see The Simpsons be a part of this limited edition set, especially because this is now going to be one of those more rare ones that MD Shady could get, since he does collect a lot of the Simpsons pops. And I really like the way that they pulled this off, of course, where he's only in his underwear, he's holding the donut, and you can tell that the scale is absolutely broken because of his heaviness. And that's also probably why this Funko Pop is also a Funko Pop Plus, or John Pop if you know you know, because of that added edition, even though I don't think they really needed to make it a plus pop. The second honorable mention on my list is the Chase variant of the Chalice Collectibles exclusive Battle Beast from Invincible. Now, this pop is absolutely detailed with not only what the character looks like itself, but the way that they added the blood splatter across the face and across the weapon he's holding in his hand as well. Mainly, I added this into my honorable mentions list considering that I know for a fact I'm not going to be getting this. Plus, I think, if anything, this would have made the list at least at number 10 if it was not only bloody for the chase, but it was also a flocked variant, because if you had those double specifications, this definitely would have made it on the list. And the last honorable mention on my list is the rest of the Hot Topic Scare Fair exclusive Funko Pops. Now, I debated on adding at least one more Funko Pop from this selection onto the top 10 list because of how fairly detailed they are. Whether it's Billy the Puppet, the pop from Silent the Lambs, of course the Michael Myers with the blood coming down the eyes, and especially the newer version of Jason. So instead of just trying to figure out which one I wanted to add, I thought I would mention it on the honorable mentions list, considering that I was considering adding one of these pops onto the list. But what ultimately had me decide of choosing the Captain Spaulding to add to the list is something that I kind of teased while talking about that, and that's the fact that that specific pop is the only one that has a blood splatter on the window of the box, which I really love when Funko does this with specifically horror related pops. And coming in at number 1 on my list is the Amazon exclusive glow in the dark Flying Dutchman from the SpongeBob movie. I think we can all agree, especially if you're a fan of SpongeBob, it's been long overdue that we finally have a Flying Dutchman Funko Pop, and especially the glow in the dark specification that definitely had to be added to it, because if there wasn't the glow in the dark specification, it would have been a huge missed opportunity.